Weddings in the Philippines are usually extravagant, big, fun, festive, and fashionable, but the pandemic spoiled it all. All the dream weddings that were grown in the minds of our grooms and brides are reduced now into a smaller and intimate affair. The celebration that usually celebrated with friends and distant relatives are now reduced to an intimate occasion that only involves family members. On this video, I am going to share with you the general impact of pandemic to couple and show you the differences of a pandemic and pre-pandemic wedding. So if you're interested, then let's get started. Generally, main impact of this pandemic to couple is that there are couples, number one, who decided to postpone or sadly even cancel their wedding celebration. And number two, there are couples who had a change of mindset and priorities. If before, there are some items that are non-negotiable, during pandemic, couple learned to fit in what the situation is only capable of providing. And as I say this, I will share with you now the direct impact to couples in terms of planning their wedding during pandemic. Downsizing of guests. This will give you a clearer view on how the pandemic totally impacted the wedding industry. Think about this, guys. The number of guests that I have handled before is within the 100 or 250 range. The most number of guests that we handled is around 500 guests. But due to the pandemic, what used to be a minimum of 100 guests were now reduced to 20 to 50 guests or people. That includes the suppliers already. Imagine that. Pandemic cuts down the number of guests not only to 50% but even 70 to 80%, which means that only those who are really chosen few are given the chance to see the couple's ID. Next one is reduce the number of church attendees. In planning, we always have to adhere with the national and local government declaration and ruling. Because of limited number of allowed guests in the church, some of my clients opted to just have them, the couple, and entourage in the church and have another or a different set of guests for their reception. This pandemic wedding, usually kids are not allowed. So there is no kid bearer or flower girls. Some doesn't even allow bridesmaids but just the couple, parents, and the principal sponsors. So wedding ceremonies were really transformed from a huge celebration into a very intimate family affair. Next one is choosing an open-air venue or al fresco. Before, if most couple wanted an indoor venue for their wedding because they don't want to take a risk that it may rain on the day of their wedding day, now most couples have no choice but to have their wedding in an open-air venue, again because of safety and health reasons, where it is believed that al fresco is more safer because of better air circulation. Safety and health protocols. Wearing of masks, face shields, social distancing, sanitation area, disinfectant, alcohols everywhere. These are just few steps that are required in a wedding day. Not only that, there are some venues that also requires the couple, the guests, and even the suppliers to have swab tests. So it is a huge change to a usual wedding event that everyone are free to do whatever they want during weddings. Larger setup with even lesser guests. Even the couple downsized the number of their guests, we still retain the original number of tables or even more. For example, before if we have 100 guests, there will be 10 10-seater round tables, which means in one table there should be 10 guests sitting on it. But because we need to observe social distancing rule, caterers only require 4 to 5 guests per table, assuming 5 guests per round table. So for 100 guests, caterer must provide 20 round tables for 100 guests. That is the reason why most caterers also increase their rates compared before due to logistics and manpower. Serving of food. For most weddings, couple give highlight to food, right? And especially for us Filipino, we want to serve our guests best and delicious food. Pre-pandemic couple always choose to have buffet. Well, I think even on a small occasion, we want a buffet to satisfy our cravings, right? But now that we have pandemic, most clients choose to have plated dinner, which is more pricey by the way. Or if not, still buffet but managed all throughout the reception. which means that there is a scooper all throughout the event. Unlike before that first serving is managed, then on the second round, you can actually get your own food depending on your preference. Well, again, there is an implication in terms of the budget because caterer needs to add manpower for this purpose. Less festive reception program. Programs are usually celebratory where people like couple and guests mingle with each other from the start to end of the reception. But for pandemic weddings, program outline is limited to the usual wedding traditions only, like cake cutting, bridal toast, couples first dance, and few speeches. There are times that even speeches are lessened or omitted due to safety reasons on using the microphones and maintaining social distancing. Less interaction with people is the main goal on pandemic wedding programs. Event curfew. Because there are rules that we need to follow, observing curfew and being mindful of it is one. Remember Cinderella? Yes, it is applied to wedding during pandemic. Actually, Cinderella is luckier because she can stay till midnight. But for weddings in new normal, it is only until 8 or 10 in the evening, and some venues will actually require you to minimize the sounds and ask everyone else to exit. Well, this actually also depends on the venue regulations. And because there's a curfew, there's an implication in terms of planning the timeline on the day, the photo shoot time, and the program timeline as well. Finally, no more after parties. Usually after the program, people are encouraged to stay because there is more dancing, singing, drinking after party. Couple tend to mingle with all their guests where they can thank them personally before everyone leave the venue. But then again, for pandemic weddings, these things may not be longer possible. Since I mentioned earlier that there is a curfew, usually guests leave immediately right after the program. But even though we are faced with this pandemic, I always advise my client to keep their focus, calibrate their mindset, and continue enjoy the entire wedding planning. I believe that these are just temporary setbacks for all wedding suppliers and couples, and that better industry and celebration is about to come. So for couples out there who decided to still have their wedding during this pandemic, just hold on to your dreams because everything will be alright. Most importantly is you hold on to the love that brought you together in the first place. And so guys, if you find this video interesting, please don't forget to like and share and subscribe. And please leave your comments down below and don't forget to hit the notification bell for my upcoming videos. Once again, this is Pinay Supermom saying, life is what we make it. Till next time guys, bye!